Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. Download it immediately following the live stream on all major podcasting apps, or go to RogueWavePodcast.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. That's Rogue Wave without the E. Join the movement. Go Rogue, RogueMatter.com. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the like button on Facebook, the share button. Help us out any way you can. Tonight, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, the Lord of the Radio himself, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir? I love it. You're raising.
I don't know.
For our podcast audience, you are raising your hands in triumph.
I'm doing great. Everything's great. Everything is 1Ds.
It's what's neat about what we do, sometimes, or frustrating, depending on how you look at it, is the amount of stuff that kind of content and news that kind of drops very quickly. We obviously are going to get into Godzilla versus Kong, which has now been out for a week. We're going to get into how it fared against Wonder Woman 84 and also Zack Snyder's Justice League. We've got Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3, which came out last week as well, too. So we've got a lot of stuff from the past, but we literally got showered with many a trailer over the weekend, including today, where we got the Jupiter's Legacy trailer, which just dropped. For those uninformed, Jupiter's Legacy is based on the Mark Millar comic of the same name, a comic series, I should say. It's not a linear series. It was a series of miniseries, essentially. It was 4 different books. He's got Jupiter's Requiem coming out this year as well, too, which will hopefully put a bow on everything. We got the Loki trailer and we got the Black Widow. We got the 87th trailer for the Black Widow, but who's counting? So I figured we'd start off with that. We just we got to consume the Jupiter's Legacy trailer. I know it's the least known, I would say, right, in terms of popularized adaptations of a comic book that people out there don't know, because it was an independent book through Image. It's part of the Millarverse, but it's poised to try to take on The Boys, which is Amazon's big hit, and that is what it is being billed as. It is the Netflix version of The Boys. I don't want to give too much away about the book itself. I actually just reread the graphic novels. At least the first 2 books, and I caught up with the prequel books. It's interesting. Millar goes out of order with his storytelling in the books. I know you've read the first 2 volumes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I sent those over to you, so it was good. The next 2 books are actually prequels to that, so you get to learn kind of like the history of all the characters.
The George Lucas thing.
What's that?
Doing the George Lucas thing.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Laying down the foundation and then go backwards.
Right, and then Jupiter's Requiem, I guess, is the future, right? So it's kind of like present, past, future, in terms of how he's telling the complete story. So not a linear telling of the story. Utopian basically is the Superman figure. He's prominent in the trailer, of the film, which is pretty cool. But you and I were talking kind of off air a little bit. The Justice League, kind of like the knockoff people, I guess, the knockoff Justice League or the knockoff, Avengers or whatever the case is. You're getting
the tropes. Well, it's not. I mean, look, it's unique. It works for every separate franchise comic book, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're consuming it on, as entertainment media on television or in movies, after a while, it starts to like, okay, the 7 are the Justice League from The Boys, right?
Right.
You've got the global, the global protectors or whatever in Invincible, which is the Justice League for Invincible, and you got the Jupiter Legacy. You've got those characters, which is another allegory for the Justice League, and as you said, a group of wizened, old superheroes that, once were, held in high esteem and were glorious, but there's a dubiousness about them, or there's a wariness about like what it takes to protect the world or whatever. And then you've got Homelander and you've got Omni-Man, and then Justice League, you've got the specter of evil Superman. It's like this trope is being used over and over and over again. So I mean, like, it's not. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not the fault of the content.
Yeah.
It's just the glut of it. The sheer volume of it starts to starts to cancel itself out after a while, because it's the allegory, the idea of an evil Justice League or failed Justice League or whatever is fascinating in and of itself. But now the trope is just a trope. It's no longer fascinating. It's just like, okay, and this is your Wonder Woman, and this is your Superman, and this is so. I mean, look, it looks exciting. It's the same principle I said previously with Justice League. It's like, of course we're going to watch it. It's in our wheelhouse of content. We're going to watch it, and we're going to judge it as it is. We're going to decide whether we like it or not. I'm happy for more content. I'm happy it's a month away. Yeah. It's not far away. And that month will go by in a heartbeat, right? So we'll actually have something we'll have the substance of it to talk about, to decide, and to compare it to.
It's interesting too, because that trailer focused, to me, gave me more of a Fantastic Four feel than a Justice League feel, which I kind of like, right? I mean, it's like almost like the first family.
To me, it felt very, to me, it felt, it was a uniquely displayed series of visuals. Yeah. That had its own, it had its own aura to it. Like, it had its own feeling to it. It didn't seem like a ripoff of anything that like, the idea of it seems like, okay, we're right.
The starting point can be the same, but it can go off in different trees. Right. And obviously the starting point for this is the superhero team, right?
Yes.
The thing that I liked about the trailer, the thing that I found interesting about the trailer, I like the Fantastic Four vibe of the trailer, but the thing I found interesting about it, and the series in general, is that when you read the comic, it's a very tight-knit story with lots of room for the reader's imagination to kind of fill in different pockets of information. It's not a straightforward narrative. I mean, it takes place over many, many years. Even again, it's kind of set up as present, past, future in terms of the way the books are. But even in the present, there's gaps of time that just, this is what happens here and this is what happens here. And then you have gaps of time in between, what you're actually reading. So there's a lot of room for interpretation. It's also a short series. I mean, this is not a lot you were talking about 50 issues at most. I think the first two are 5-issue series, so that's 10 books. The next two was 12. The next volume was 12.
Yeah.
And the next volume coming out is another 12. So actually my math is horrible, and that's not even 40. That's not even 40 comics. So to make you figure there's 8 to 10 episodes per season of a typical Netflix show, and you want to go at least 5 seasons. I mean, there's going to be a lot of room for interpretation. So it's very interesting to see. They obviously did a couple of casting differences right off the bat. You can tell because in the initial one, it was a very white team, and now just from the trailer, you can see that they've mixed people of different backgrounds in there as well too. So there's definitely room for interpretation and it's curious to see how much they're going to kind of either alter or expand upon. I'm always a big fan of expanding upon, so we'll see, what they kind of do, but interesting to see.
It looks, look, just from a kid's point of view, like, it looks good. It doesn't look like, oh my God, it doesn't, there's a difference between this and say Jupiter Rising, like, it's just like seeing a trailer, like, oh, that looks bad. That looks, that just looks absolutely horrible. Yeah. So we'll see what it's like,
Yeah. And we'll see. And Mark Millar actually wrote it right around, the initial one was like 2014 or 2015. So it was all pre-Trump. It was it might even be a little bit earlier than that, but it references Obama still in office. So it's curious, are they going to set it in today's world? Are they going to set it when the initial series actually came out? Because again, it does kind of spans a huge time frame. It actually leads into 2022 in the comic. So I would think that the choice to keep it where the comic was rather than just, catapulted to today might be a decision they end up going with. So it'll be interesting to see what they kind of do with it. So that was a cool trailer. Definitely hyped for the series. Now we got 2 Marvel trailers that came out. We got the Loki trailer, and then we got the Black Widow. And I joked at the beginning that we got the 87th trailer for Black Widow. Obviously, we talked about it last week, but in case you did not know, Black Widow is hitting theaters and Disney Plus in July, so not May. Shang-Chi also got pushed back. Have you ever heard of a Marvel movie that's gotten less press than Shang-Chi? I didn't even realize it was coming out this year.
I don't know.
I had not heard much about it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Interesting, right?
They're not talking about it. Yeah.
And we don't know how much COVID affected that. We don't know how much the fact that they were unsure about their own schedule.
It's not going to stop them. It shouldn't stop them from talking about it. It shouldn't stop us from seeing trailers. And
right, it feels it was odd, right? But anyway, we're focusing on Black Widow. Disney announced, it's going to delay the release by 2 months. It's going to hit July 9th, but it'll also be available on Disney Plus the same day. So they dropped a new trailer. I don't know what to tell you. I guess I've seen. I have like trailer fatigue from Black Widow. I almost feel like I've seen the movie now, even though I haven't, and I don't know anything.
It's always
about
the same scenes over and over. It's always a bridge, or jumping off the bridge, or jumping out of a helicopter or whatever that the vehicle is, and and then the scene, the family scene. At home with them talking, and they're clearly upset with her for having left, and okay, so fine, just fucking release it. Excuse my language.
I know.
I'm just tired of I get it. You just want to.
It was like you. It's like you when I do endless promotion, and you're just get on with it already. Like I can hear you. I can hear you. Like
let's just have at it. Let's just decide whether we like it or not. You don't need to release a new trailer every time you decide when you're going to re-release it. People are forgiving. People understand why it's been delayed.
I know. And it is a victim of circumstance. We understand.
It is.
We get it. But yes, it is.
But cut it the heck out,
It is definitely one of those things where I don't know how much more excited I can be for this movie. I wasn't overwhelmingly excited for it to begin with. Like I'm going to watch it. I'm expecting it to be a nice 3 hours of my time.
The bottom line is a new trailer is not news.
Exactly.
It's not news. It's just more, it's more still frames and quick edits and stuff like that. Okay. But it's not news.
Yeah.
So,
the news for me is, why are we not seeing any Shang-Chi trailers at this point?
Yeah. That's bigger. That's a bigger thing than anything else.
So we will move on to the final trailer, and we will run it through our trailer truth or trash, which is our infamous segment now. People globally, they coin it, they use it. It's caught on. It's huge.
Congratulations.
I'm lying, but I know the Loki trailer dropped, and this is an interesting everything, right?
Okay.
To be very specific, right?
Yes.
Not to be too broad.
Yeah.
But on multiple levels, this is an interesting series.
Right. Okay.
And the trailer only adds to it. And what I mean by that, everything we've seen thus far from the Marvel Universe has some sort of beginning point that starts in a comic book, right? It starts in some sort of, Captain America Civil War, Winter Soldier, even WandaVision dates back from story arcs that took place in Avengers, and they're kind of like iconic. I don't know if they're iconic, but they're well known enough within the industry where it's like, oh, I see they're gonna do that storyline, or they're gonna do this storyline.
Right.
I don't know.
You don't know what comic book source.
There's no Loki comic book source. I think the Loki TV series is like, Hiddleston's just such a great actor. We need to feature him. We need more of him. And he's so great in that role.
Since we murdered him in Infinity War.
Right.
And then strangely resurrected him again in a very matter-of-fact way in Endgame.
Yes. And it was like, we don't want to kill off Loki. Now, I mean, that's the only part that might stem from the comics, right? That Loki continues to always kind of come back, and he's like the Magneto of the Thor world, right? Like, you can't get rid of him. He's just, he only goes away for a while, but then he always is like,
he's like he's like Sauron, you know.
Yes.
You can't kill him. You can just diminish him. That he,
Right.
you know, it takes him 5,000 years to come back, but he will be back.
But he will be back.
Yeah.
So what we saw in the trailer was actually, to me, and I might be wrong about this, but I don't think I am. I don't. It's a completely original storyline around a Marvel character.
Yeah, and it's got that Taika Waititi flair to it, or the James Gunn flair, where it's like serious and absurd at the same time. You know, and the premise is ridiculous, and they are doing the trope of the bureaucratic the
Adjustment
universe.
Bureau kind of thing.
Yeah, that the whatever powers are at the center of the universe are a bureaucracy and not really any kind of ethereal force. Which is fine. I mean,
we see that in Umbrella Academy. I mean,
it doesn't get old.
That's the thing that struck me, right? And that's the trailer truth or trash question for you. Because, I mean, spoilers, but Umbrella Academy's been out for 3 seasons now, and the last season's been out for a long time now. Part of me kind of smiled at the trailer and I'll call it the original story of the Time Bureau and all that other stuff. The other part of me kind of trashes it a little bit because we saw this in Umbrella Academy, and the Loki character, to me, mimics who's the main character in Umbrella Academy, the kid. I lost his.
Five.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like they're the same character almost, in a sense. I mean, not the same, similar character. Similar kind of character, right? Like, trailer truth or trash. If this is to be believed, does it diminish the excitement for this series? And I'll actually go a step previous. Trailer truth or trash. I know you don't get excited for anything, but were you intrigued by the setup from the trailer? And is it diminished at all by the similarities to Umbrella Academy?
I mean, we don't really know. I mean, even Star Trek had a temporal, Bureau of Temporal Affairs. It's a science fiction trope.
Okay.
And in it being a trope of science fiction, that there are people who monitor the timelines,
right.
Time Cop, freaking Jean-Claude Van Damme was one of these people. So, it being a tried and true trope, I'm not necessarily inclined to condemn it for that. I'd like to see how they handle it. So it just becomes another one of those. It becomes another Justice League. It all depends on how it meshes with your vision of how things fall together. So yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not offended by it.
All right.
I'm interested.
All right. I love it. I actually am too, just because Tom Hiddleston's just so good. Like, he's just so good.
Yeah, he's great in the role. He really is, and he shines in that role. And he does have a flair for being lovably dangerous.
Yeah,
like he's like you really are rooting for him, even though he's a scumbag. So, and that's very rare to do. Where he maintains his villain status, but he's the villain that you root for in its own way. I was happy in Endgame when he kind of escaped. I'm like, okay, well, he's still out there, as opposed to watching him get strangled to death in Infinity War, which is kind of a dark fate for the character.
Yeah, that took a turn.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
And then he blew him up. So I guess that's that.
So he's definitely dead. I mean,
yeah, that one's dead.
Right.
But there's, we got another one, so we'll see how that works out. And of course, they'll come the speculations of, we're going to see Anthony Hopkins. Is Hemsworth going to be in it? We're going to get all these. We're going to get all the blah, whatever.
Maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe I'm not. Obviously, I think you're the same way. I wouldn't care. Like,
I'm intrigued to see what they do with it.
I want to see what they do with this guy. Yeah, I don't need to see.
If it seems like it's original content, that it's not from some source material.
Yeah,
let's do more of that.
All right. Yeah. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for these based off these trailers? Do you even know what Jupiter's Legacy is? Do you care? Do you need to see the 97th trailer for Black Widow, the 127th trailer for Black Widow, or we just want to get on with it? And Loki, out of all three, I don't know. Kind of excited for the most for that one. Which one out of all three, Hassan, before we go to break?
I don't pick favorites.
If you had all three in front of you, which one would you see first?
I'd probably watch Jupiter first, because that one's. I mean, that just looks like it's out there, and that's entering into a whole new world. But definitely, I would probably watch Loki next.
Okay,
I'm very much interested in Loki. And then I do want to see Black Widow, but get on with it already.
I've seen it already. You could piece together all 90 trailers, and you'd get a movie out of it.
Just
throw in a couple of Hopper from Stranger Things, literally just take some of the Stranger Things.
Yeah, but I mean, how long can you string a character along getting their requiem after they've died heroically? We've been waiting for her to get her final say.
I know.
In whatever, which is just not happening. We're just not letting it happen.
No, it will not. All right. What do you guys think? Chime in on the Facebook feed. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go to facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. Go find the video. We're always commenting, even weeks in and after. All right. When we come back, monsters beating each other up. The feel-good movie of the year. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed.
Well, now you just gave it away. Now, why should anybody tune in now?
Versus Kong, because I'm going to tell you why it might have saved movie theaters when we come back.
Welcome to Button Stash, the show about the best mustaches in gaming.
Casey, it's Button Smash. It's the new gaming podcast from the Rogue Matter Network. I don't know where you got mustaches from.
Well, I'm not shaving. But we will talk about gaming news, reviews, inside scoops, and retrospectives.
Join us live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, or download our episodes wherever you listen to your podcast.
But please, Casey, shave.
Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. A couple of announcements again. McBride and Groom successfully funded in a few days. You can still back it on Kickstarter, so go please check it out on Kickstarter. Our guest Steve Ovecki from last week is the creator, and he did a great job. And it's a really great book.
It's a success.
It's a really great book. So really excited about that. Button Smash. You saw the commercial for Button Smash. They will be on our show April 28th, because they have a big May the 4th episode that
I wonder what that's about.
All the Star Wars games is going to be pretty awesome. So, but they're going to be doing almost like a Jeopardy-like categorical analysis of all the there's different categories of Star Wars games, and they're going to break it down, and they'll be on here April 28th to explain it way better than I just did. So tune in to Rogue Wave April 28th. And finally, that's it. That's my announcements. Go check out the new roguematter.com. There you go.
Don't do as we tell you. Yeah. Do it now.
Everything on roguematter.com, by the way, free to read, including a preview of Time Trader. That's my book. Preview of McBride and Groom. You can read the first 11 pages. Making Markham, really awesome book. Hollow Mark, great short story. My issue comes out next week of Hollow Mark too. Look at that. Shamelessly self-promoting. All right. Godzilla v. Kong. Let me tell you right now, my favorite V of all time. We've gotten Batman v Superman, pretty pitiful. We got Predator v Alien, right? Or Alien v Predator. Never lived up to the hype. Godzilla v Kong, totally lived
Freddy
up.
versus Jason. What about that?
I was way too old at that point to care as much as I could have.
You were older then than you are now to care.
I feel like at 14 I was like, Freddy v Jason. Nah,
were you 14 during Freddy versus Jason?
No, but I was probably 14 when I would have liked to have seen Freddy v Jason.
Oh my god! All right,
and then by the time it came around, I'm like, I don't even care anymore.
Your logic's all right. Just get back to Kong. All right.
So let me tell you right now, I started watching this movie, as I do mostly everything that I stream these days, because the TV is generally occupied, on my phone. And so I started watching, they set up Alexander Skarsgård's character. They set up Kong. They set up the little girl. They set up, Millie Bobby Brown. And they set up Bernie, the podcaster who we all love. He's from Atlanta also. He'll be in Eternals as well, too. His name is not actually Bernie. I'll get the actor's name in a second. So they set up all these great characters, right? And it's Brian Tyree Henry, by the way. And I'm watching it, and right up to the point where the ship is in the water that's carrying Kong, spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, over to the Hollow Earth, to the point where Godzilla is rising out of the water. I'm literally like, I hit pause and I stop, because I'm like, I need to watch this on a big screen TV, because no amount of my iPhone 10 is going to do this battle justice. And I am extremely
why
happy.
weren't you watching on your television immedially? Like, why? It was from the start.
Because at the time, my son's on the TV watching Netflix cartoons. Like, I can't. You don't disrupt.
You kick your son off of Netflix? You're like, no, son, stop.
No.
We're watching.
I hit the pause button. I waited until it was free later that night. Then I watched it. And I was really, really happy that I did. Because this movie it gave us all the information we needed. It didn't ask us to think too hard. We didn't have to.
It certainly didn't do that. It made no request of us to think whatsoever.
It just gave us a setup. It gave us a couple little twists and turns, the Hollow Earth theory. I love doing the Hollow Earth theory. That's a fun, I'm not going to call it a fact-based theory, but it's a theory that has been debated,
it's not fact-based.
No, I'm not saying it's a fact-based theory, but it is a fact that people have debated the theory.
Yeah, it is true. Yes.
Right. Is that, I think that's the best way I could say that.
Yes. That's well done.
So I like mining that as like, oh, it turns out it was really, like for the purpose of the storyline and, all this kind of stuff. The fact that Kong could actually communicate, I thought was actually a really, which is actually fact-based, because gorillas can do sign language. Yes, and I thought that was really awesome. Fine. It just gave us enough of a setup, and then it let monsters punch each other in the face.
What the hell is Kong eating that his eyes are sharp enough to see that little girl all the way? Did you see her in comparison to the size of his finger? Like, yes. I wouldn't be able to see. That's like seeing like one of those little brown ants.
That's a carpet beetle.
Yeah, exactly. Beetle. And if a carpet beetle was doing sign language at me, I would not know it. I would not. Like, what? Is he
Don't think too hard. Kong's a Titan. Kong's a Titan. That's all you need to know.
I just want to know why his eyes are so good. I want to know what
his set up its own rules. Kong's a Titan. Can do anything.
Fine.
Can do everything.
Fine.
Right?
Fine. Go ahead.
Like, I'm cool with it.
I didn't say I wasn't cool with it. I wanted information. I wanted health guides and health tips from Kong.
Monsters beating each other up. That was it.
Listen, my point
Monster
ago,
porn.
and it said it, and it has been said over and over and over again. I've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Everybody points out that the Peter Jackson King Kong was too self-indulgent, too overblown, too long, blah, blah, blah. In that movie, an 18-foot gorilla drop kicks a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yes.
I rest my case on how awesome that damn movie is, right? So here we go again with two giant creatures. I don't know what aircraft carrier was made strong enough to be able to withstand two of these creatures standing on it.
Sure.
That's anachronistic, but that's fine.
A super soldier can go right through it.
Yeah. Yes. But Kong can't, Also, the jump scene where Kong is so incensed that he's in a virtual reality that he's turning trees into spears, right? To break the place. And then moments later, they've somehow coaxed him onto a ship. And he's not even upset about it. Like, he's like, all right, whatever.
They didn't even waste time. They don't waste time with it. That's what I like. So someone said to me, they're like, wow, it felt really short. And I actually liked that. It was under 2 hours. I liked that. I liked that it was short. I liked that and even like the conclusion of it, the humans help, but it's not about the humans.
The humans are useless. I don't know why humans are in it. I don't know why humans were in the 2014 version.
Yeah.
I don't know why we kept cutting away from that. That drove me nuts. The humans were a little more prevalent in the 2018 Godzilla King of the Monsters. I think it was 2018. Or 2019. It might have been the 2019.
Well,
movie.
in that movie, I didn't mind, to be honest with you.
I didn't, and I did, and I didn't. But it is what it is. That's fine. This movie, like the humans were back to being useless. Like, wouldn't it? You know what? It would have been great if they had a team Mechagodzilla, Team Godzilla, and Team Kong all converge in the same place, and they all had a fist fight, like Millie Bobby Brown's punching, Skarsgård in the face, and then that would have made it chef's kiss, the greatest movie ever made, right?
Yeah.
If these otherwise mild-mannered human beings got together and went totally savage on each other, nobody has to be killed. You could leave it to slapstick and pies in the face and that kind of crap. But just give us something interesting for the humans to do while we're watching these gigantic monsters beat the crap out of each other. That would be great. And stop glazing over the fact that they are literally stepping on thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
Stop it. Yeah. Like, Kong bothers no one. The Godzilla saved the day. It's like Godzilla did $18 billion worth of damage. And how many funerals are we going to have after this? After this visit from Godzilla.
The one thing I couldn't understand is they evacuated the city, yet there was one scene where there's all those people in the restaurant. Like, I guess they didn't get the cue.
They're just like, we ain't leaving. But they're the anti-maskers of the Godzilla universe. Like, we're not leaving. We're not leaving. We
Godzilla's
got the right
a hoax.
To eat here. Godzilla's a hoax.
Godzilla's a hoax.
Right to leave radioactives your entire eating party.
Let me tell you right now, though. I'm going to piggyback off our conversation from last week, right? Because when we talked about Falcon and Winter Soldier and why it's not working, we'll go into Falcon and Winter Soldier next segment. It's not,
why you think it's not working?
Why it's not? It's universal. It's universal. I had another person, by the way.
One other person. Now it's the universe.
I've had now 4 in my circle, and if you use that as representation of the masses, is 100% of my circle have randomly said to me, I'm not even asking like, hey, what do you think about Falcon and Winter Soldier? They have gone out of their way to ask me, oh, are you watching this? It's terrible. Like, everyone just doesn't like it.
Everyone. Okay. Nah.
But here's why. But here's in the context.
Arguing in bad faith.
The movie to me built up enough equity of fun in the 2 hours plus, the under 2 hours that I was watching it, to where if there were inconsistencies or minor things that made me kind of go, I didn't care, because you built up enough equity of fun and enjoyment up to this point to where I'm like, all right, I don't know why the people in the restaurant when they evacuated the city, but I'll let it go, because why not? This has got me going to the point whereas in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not enjoying it enough to where moments of inconsistencies, which is what kind of happened last week, bizarre things that are kind of happening in episode 3, which again we'll get into next segment, to where it's I can shrug it off. It just adds to
I don't know why you're comparing Falcon and Winter Soldier to King Kong versus Godzilla.
I'm just talking about how
I get what you're talking about.
Movie or a story can build up enough equity in terms of enjoyment level to where
I know. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. All. Yeah,
I'm just
I don't agree. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. But I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I get you. I follow you. But
okay, as long as you follow me, that's all. That
I follow. To an extent. To a limit. To the end of the tracks. I follow you. But as soon as the tracks end, I'm not stepping off the road. It's not happening. But anyway.
What did you think? Now you're a big Godzilla guy, though, right? Like
I'm not the biggest Godzilla guy. I've seen all the Godzilla movies. I've seen all the original Godzilla movies.
That makes you pretty big in my mind.
I haven't seen all the reboot movies. I haven't seen everything.
Yeah,
I haven't seen everything. I was and still actually a bigger Gamera fan than Godzilla, and that's not Toho. That's not. And Gamera's last showing was in the 90s. So I mean, like we're not even getting new Gamera stuff. So
Gotcha.
it's, it is what it is. We got a teaser trailer for a possible Gamera movie that never happened, or the argument is that the trailer was the short film in and of itself, and that's all we're getting. So blah blah. I like Godzilla very much. I liked all three of the movies. I have my issues with them, but who doesn't have an issue with anything?
Of
right?
course.
But I ultimately enjoyed it. I like the rendition of Godzilla. I like the look of him. I like, I mean, it blows a Broderick Zilla out of the water.
I would like them to disregard that.
I would like them to do a sequence where this Godzilla steps on the Broderick Godzilla. Like, and let's just call this an arrogant attempt.
You know what they should do, though? This is all they need to do. Forget even having a movie about that. You could have Godzilla stepping on a poster for that movie, like a billboard. Like he could crush a billboard for like Godzilla the movie featuring that Godzilla, and he could crush it. That would. There you go.
It's not enough. It's not enough. But I mean,
yeah.
I look. I knew I was just going to enjoy this movie. I knew it was going to be absolutely bonkers. It is literally, we're gonna have an ape fight a lizard. Like if you think about it in any way, it's the most absurd thing you could possibly think of. Again, there's a little too much human element in it. There's a little too much convolution of whatever. They're asking us to believe a lot, like these little thermal ways that you can use to get all the way down to to Hollow Earth, and you're like, okay, who built these? Like what's and I do wish as a
I will believe Isaac Gonzalez though at any point. If she told me like this will work, I'll be like, I'll follow you anywhere.
Okay, that's up to you. I do wish as a fan of the stud that there was at least one little freaking baby Kong in there to keep Kong company. I was and I'm sure like in future movies or whatever they decide to do with the franchise, he'll find something wonderful he'll find down in there where he won't be alone anymore, because the two of them are just tremendously alone creatures, and every time they sense each other, they just show up to beat the crap out of each other. And then, I liked it. Look, spoiler, I liked that Godzilla 1. I liked it that Kong technically bowed down to Godzilla.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I got to tell you, though, it was a well choreographed fight, as crazy as that sounds, right? Because for a while, I'm like, man, Godzilla's just getting the F beat out of him, or the S beat out of him.
But Kong lost the first. I think the way they divvied it up in the movie, he lost the carrier fight. Yeah. Right. And then he sort of won the Hong Kong fight. Yeah. The first wing of the Hong Kong fight.
Right.
And then Godzilla rallied. He booted and rallied. And he stomped Kong. Yes. And then Godzilla was getting his butt kicked by Mechagodzilla, which is nonsense. And I will tell you honestly, I did not like the design of Mechagodzilla. I thought that was terrible.
I remember you telling me that last week. Let me give you a little forgiveness on the Mechagodzilla, though. This was the first Rey and Kylo Ren fight. Godzilla straight up against Mechagodzilla would beat him, but he'd just gone 12 rounds with Kong. So it's, you know what I mean? Like
maybe he would have beat him. Maybe.
Well, I mean, okay, let's say maybe, but let's say it wouldn't have been a thrashing. It was a thrashing. He had literally just, imagine going 12 rounds with Steve Ovecki and then having to fight me. You got no shot. You got no shot. I'm gonna come in with my fancy machinery.
I'm not going to have an opinion about that one bit. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying, if using Steve Ovecki is actually a great analogy, because you guys are seismically the same like proportions and strength and size.
Two of us are seismic. Are you saying we're seismic? All right.
Yes, okay. I know. I use that intentionally. I didn't. That was not a slip up.
we are seismic anomalies.
If you guys beat the tar out of each other, and then whoever won that fight, then had to take me on in a tank. Like, like
you're a tank.
Normally you could beat me in the tank. But you didn't see me coming, and you just went toe to toe with Steve Ovecki.
I get what you're saying.
It's like Kylo Ren. Why did he lose to Rey the first time when Rey had no Jedi training? Well, he was hurt. He had the lightsaber injury. So,
yeah, and also it was poorly written. There's that also.
At least there was a plausible reason. It's like, okay, well, he obviously was not at full strength. Same thing with Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. He wasn't at full strength when he took on a brand new.
Well, he had to,
hatched
but I mean that's a
Mechagodzilla.
convolution of story, right? Because he had to be on the back foot so that Kong, jumping in to save him would be a big hero moment, right?
Yeah.
And then he sails away, and Kong is standing there in Hong Kong, and
they get him
they
back
don't
there.
show
They
that-
get him. Well, for Hollow, he just jumps right back in Hollow Earth. So he was.
I
good.
guess so.
See, that was the problem with the Hollow Earth theory. They tried to get in there from Antarctica. If they just drilled a hole through Hong Kong,
They should have got Godzilla. He just radioactive his way all the way down through. They're also not going to talk about the fact that Hong Kong has a giant hole in it now that leads to the center of the Earth.
That's for
I'm
the
sure
fourth.
I'm sure there's got to be terrible repercussions from that.
That's for the fourth movie to worry about.
Yeah, whatever. Which
That's
will probably
future.
never be the fifth movie at this
I
point.
bet you're wondering how it did on HBO Max, and I bet you're wondering.
I am certainly wondering that. Why don't you tell me, Michael?
I bet you're wondering if it beat out Justice League and Wonder Woman 1984.
Well, since you already said that in a previous segment, then I'm not really wondering it.
Godzilla versus Kong beats Zack Snyder's Justice
hear
League
it.
and sets an HBO Max record for the highest viewership over a 4-day debut on the service. It beat out both Justice League and Wonder Woman 1984. The MonsterVerse has been in the business of setting records. It had a huge international debut of over 120 million.
It's an unfair comparison because technically Godzilla versus Kong could be construed as a family movie, whereas Justice League definitely wasn't.
Okay, but
Justice
it beat out
League is
Wonder Woman
technically-
1984.
That's fine, but I'm just talking about like Justice League is technically an R-rated movie.
Okay, but Deadpool, that didn't stop Deadpool, right?
But I mean, Deadpool pre-pandemic time, of course. I'm talking about like, what is the family gonna sit down to the table and watch, or just sit down in the living room and watch? Are you gonna show your kids Justice League, or are you gonna show you feel safe for showing your kids Godzilla?
I really wouldn't bring my kids to either of the movies, to be honest with you. Though it's not really, I wouldn't call Godzilla versus Kong a family film.
Okay, so
but it did open to a pandemic best 121.8 million at the foreign box office, giving Hollywood hope that tentpoles can make a comeback. Christopher Nolan's Tenet previously had the biggest offshore start with 53 million in the pandemic. The monster mashup enjoyed an especially loud roar in China, where it grossed a huge 70 million. Legendary has sole distribution and marketing duties in the Middle Kingdom, while Warner's is handling it everywhere else. Meanwhile, in North America, it actually also did great in America as well too. U.S. roars back to the box office. Sorry, the box office roars back to life. Legendary and Warner Brothers tentpole Godzilla vs. Kong posted a pandemic best debut of 48.5 million in the first 5 days, including 32 million from 3,000 plus theaters for a 3-day Easter weekend haul.
Yeah, it's also a big holiday weekend, whereas Justice League wasn't a holiday weekend.
Yes,
it's another big deal.
I think a big movie like this working should tell everyone, if we are rational in how we release a title, there is an appetite for people to have a shared experience in the theater, says Joshua Grode, CEO of Legendary. He said the decision to release the film wasn't for the faint of heart, but that it was the right movie for the moment. This is really significant. It is igniting a recovery. It launched day and date on HBO Max, yet it's unclear what impact that had on its theatrical run. HBO Max didn't release viewership numbers, but said the film had a larger viewing audience in its first 4 days than any other film or show since the launch of the streaming service. The HBO Max audience has spoken. They love this film, and we are watching it, and they are watching it more than once. So it's a win all around, but I got to tell you, I actually wholeheartedly agree that this is a movie that I would have loved to have seen in the theater. When they jettison through the Hollow Earth, from Antarctica into Hollow Earth, and there's that quiet like pulse noise, I'm like, oh man, like it actually brought me back to sitting in a theater. Why didn't you go see it in
the theater then?
What's that?
Why didn't you go see it in the theater? You had that option.
I did have the option. No, I agree with you. I had the option. I'm only one vaccine in, so I'm going to wait until I have my second vaccine before I go see it.
Well, then why did you wait to see it in general?
Because we had to review it today, and I did not want to get the poo-poo face from you.
You're still going to get that. So, I mean, you might as well have saved yourself the effort.
But no, I got to be honest with you. Like, it was one of those movies I was like, man, This is great at home, or this is good at home. This would have been great in a theater, and it's got me excited to once again hit the theaters. And I got to tell you, Black Widow, I think I'll be going to theaters for that. I can almost assuredly tell you I will see that in the theaters, just because I like these tent poles in the theater. I like the Dolby sound. I like the gigantic screen. I have a nice big screen TV, but it pales in comparison to sitting in a theater and kind of experiencing, the physical nature of the sound plus the visuals, all at once. So that's my take. I don't know. You will opt for the Disney Plus package. You don't know yet.
I mean, it depends on how I feel at the time. I really have no desire to go back to the movie theaters. I like the idea of movie theaters. I like going to movies with friends, like a group of people.
Yeah.
That I like when it's an event, but for the most part, like, going to the movies with like one other person or alone or whatever, it's a miserable. It had become by 2019 not a great experience because, look, without getting on a soapbox, people are scum. People don't respect each other. People don't respect each other.
You just Godzilla vs. Kong'd that. I like that.
And
I'm
so
just saying, you wasted no time. You got right to it. I like it.
Okay.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? Is this a movie you wish you saw in the theaters? Did you see it in the theaters? Are you going to go back to theaters? And overall, what do you think of Godzilla vs. Kong? When we come back, we'll mix a little Rogue Rage with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Somehow, we'll do it. But it got better. Or did it? When we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I do agree. I've had better teasers in previous episodes, so this one won't go up there. But you know what? 3 out of 10 gets you in the Hall of Fame in baseball, so you don't have to home run every time.
Yeah, keep running those numbers, man. Keep running those numbers.
All right, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we will do a Rogue Rage, even though you told me we have no Rogue Rage. But
Falcon, that's the song. If I was writing the theme, that would be the song I would write.
What was it?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
See, right off the bat, if that was the theme,
Soldier.
I'd be like totally more into this.
Really?
Show.
That would make you that would change your opinion
because
of it.
Be the first thing I hear. I'd be like, wow, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I don't know what I'm in for, but I'm excited by that.
Right. Fine.
So
such a smart ass.
Episode 3 was way better, first of all. Right. So if you guys have been listening to me the last 2 episodes, I've been sitting there saying Falcon and Winter Soldier has not been an enjoyable experience, and not at all to the point where it is actually work. It has been work to sit down and watch it rather than me sitting down and watching something that I, in theory, should enjoy just based off its premise. Has, by the 3rd episode, I'm kind of like, man, oh man, I got to watch this thing. Okay, great. 3rd episode was a lot of fun. And at this point, I've given up, worrying about outrageous details that don't make sense because as we pointed out in the last segment, the film has the series has not built up any equity with me, but I've just decided, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it. What made this episode great? Not Falcon, not Winter Soldier, not John Walker, who I'm kind of over as well too as the new Captain America. He kind of pisses me off a little bit too. The main characters of this entire series irritate me and annoy me to the point where I don't find enjoyment in watching these characters. What I did enjoy, Baron Zemo and Agent Carter. Give these two their own show. They didn't even interact much. I don't care. Make her tracking him down. Make it a cat and mouse game. Whatever you have to do. Baron Zemo in this, Daniel Bruhl, the actor, so freaking good. I also enjoy the fact that they're retconning closer to the comic book that he is a Baron, because he was always just Zemo in Civil War, and you never got the feeling that he was actually rich, which for some reason, I don't know why he didn't use his wealth and power to somehow, I don't know, do a better job in Civil War, but you can actually, go back to my Civil War diatribe.
Well, in theory, he lost everything when Sokovia. He was a Baron of Sokovia. So,
okay.
Since your country doesn't exist anymore, a lot of your assets probably gone.
I guess so. That's cool. Whatever, however you want to do it. It didn't matter. Again, I'm not going to think too deep into any of this. Like, why was a plane waiting for him when no one knew he was going to escape from jail? I'm not going to worry about it. Why his butler was still around?
Probably make a phone call.
I get, but his butler's still there. Like, hey, by the way, go back to work because I just escaped from jail.
Well, I mean, he still might have his wealth. I don't know.
Guess so.
So those people would still work for him.
Again,
even if
not even gonna think too. I'm not even gonna think too hard about it.
I get you.
It was cool. Not gonna care why all of a sudden. Why did he have to wear the mask when he was burning shit up? Bing. but like every other place, he's like, I'm just gonna walk around with my cool jacket. Awesome jacket, by the way. I like because the Baron Zemo character has a ridiculous costume, but it has the fur in the back. So instead of that, they actually just made it the furry jacket. That's a solid decision. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah,
love the whole look.
I know. I hear you.
Agent Carter. She was never this badass in the Winter Soldier movie or Civil War, but awesome. Taking down thugs left and right. Love it. Shooting up that scientist.
Not even remotely bitter that her potential boyfriend decided to go back in time to hook up with her aunt.
Was it her aunt or was it her grandmother? I forget.
Her aunt.
Okay, because in the comics it's the grandmother, but yeah, she's not bitter. Well, hey, she's gonna have Bucky, right? Or Sam. Who knows? Or Zemo. Ooh, I need to ship that couple.
I don't. Okay. I don't see any of those happening, but all right.
What was your reaction to?
Actually, that was my least favorite episode.
See, there you go. Now I like it even more.
That's pretty much why I started hating it. As you started describing how much you liked it, that's when I decided, you know what, I don't like this episode at all.
Yeah.
And so, so it's a catalyst. It's a cause and effect kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Like I said, it is none of these episodes have third acts.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you're not enjoying. Well, who knows why you're not enjoying? I don't know. But I mean, that's probably why they feel so stilted, because they're made definitely to be binged, and they've in Disney Plus or whatever has changed the format of them. And so a lot of the things that are meant to be binged don't have a third act. They just kind of run consecutively, one act into the next act into the, one episode into the next episode into the next episode without often a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel kind of like, holy crap, we just burned through that, now we got to wait another week to see something else happen. So like I have said from the beginning, I am reserving my overall opinion of it until it's all done, which will be in like 2-3 weeks, right? Because we've only got 3 more episodes.
Yep.
And then I will decide whether or not, it was an event or not. It was a good experience for me or not. I'm enjoying it, but like I said, I enjoy the content in and of itself. I judge it differently since we actually had like a dearth of content for the longest time, of credible content. And then now it's just starting to pour in. People have found ways to responsibly continue to make content. Now we're seeing some stuff, and we're getting the promise of a lot of other stuff. Like we just covered the Loki trailer and Jupiter and Black Widow's 999th trailer. So
1,000 times the charm.
I am interested in everything that's coming out. I am grateful that all this stuff exists and that I am capable of watching it. I am in a position where I can sit down and just take it all in. Per opinion, it's another cog in the machine of whatever this is just trying to be. I enjoyed it. It didn't turn me off to not want to watch the next episode. but as pertains to like how much I, enjoyed or laughed at the first 2 episodes, there wasn't much going on except for Zemo dancing. Yes. That was about it.
That was great. Wasn't that amazing?
Which is now a GIF of
love it.
Zemo dance, right? So
I love it.
That's for that alone, I guess.
It was so. It was a
great episode.
So bonkers at that point. I mean, they're just and we'll get to the elephant in the room in a second as to where he did his dancing, but it at this point, I'm like, why is Sebastian Stan breaking this guy out? Because they have no other leads. They're desperate, but they could have just worked with John Walker because they have a whole network of leads, but they don't want to work with that guy.
They ideologically, they're ideologically opposed to working with that guy. So, and it's like John Walker he didn't ingratiate himself to them. He got them arrested for no reason, right? And then they ended up having to have a therapy session, and then he tried to strong arm
John Walker
him.
didn't get them arrested. John Walker bailed them out.
No, he got them arrested. No, he got them arrested. Yeah, watch it again.
I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because remember, when the therapist comes in, she's like, "I didn't do this." Like it's like I didn't report that he didn't have a session, and then that's John Walker walks in and is like, "Nope, that was me."
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
So I mean, that's not exactly endearing, And then they had that really bad therapy session where they came out hating each other even more.
I know.
I don't mean bad as I don't mean not me personally. I don't mean bad as though the scene was bad. I just mean that they just didn't have a good rapport in the scene. So they come out and they're even more baked than they were when they went in. And then he tries to strong arm them again. So of course they're not going to work with him. And everybody is alpha male, right? They're all testosterone driven alphas, sons of bitches, right? So that's not gonna happen. They'll get desperate and they'll probably end up having to team
desperate
up
enough to break out the guy who, circumstantially.
Well, technically Falcon didn't break him out. Technically the Winter Soldier broke him out, you know, so he's the dubious one, right? Yeah. So he's capable, and he didn't even tell Falcon what he was going to do.
Yeah.
So they didn't decide to do that together. They didn't decide that was a good course of action. Bucky said, "Look, I know exactly how to fix this."
I know. It was that moment where I'm just like, I give up. I'm just going to enjoy this for what it is. And I didn't really.
I stopped doing that a long time ago. Like just over baking it, because like there's so many things in so many things that's like, this just makes no sense compared to what you just said 5 minutes ago. This absolutely makes no sense. So, if it still was just Falcon and Winter Soldier as the primary characters, which they are, the main characters they are, but in this episode they kind of take a back seat to Agent Carter and to Baron Zemo, I might not be singing the same tune that I am right now. I might actually still be sitting there going, this is a miserable experience. We're just going to sit here for this. That's the weird thing about this whole thing. If you're not enjoying yourself, like, then we're just sitting here for 6 weeks listening to you piss on it.
It's true.
And so it's like, maybe we just shouldn't watch it. Like, it's all right. If you're not getting it, if you're not into it, maybe we should just stop.
I'll watch it for little things.
No, but why?
Like last episode where they introduced Madripoor. Come on. Hey, Madripoor. Got to be the X-Men. Where's Boner? Where did Boner go? Is he going to be there? Is Wolverine coming? When's Wolverine coming? Come on. It's going to happen.
I've already made this the topic of my previous.
This is what we do every week. Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage. All the rage in the pop culture world.
Here's my rage. Stop it. My rage is against you. Cut it out. Stop being a manipulative little jerk.
I told you we'd get one in.
Yeah, look, Madripoor is great. Like, the show is fine. The show is fine to me. I did over the weekend. I watched Winter Soldier again. And then I watched. I jumped straight to Civil War, right?
Right.
And just unfortunately, got nostalgic for that time when Black Panther was brand new and Chadwick Boseman wasn't dead, and various other things that has since happened that just kind of really suck. And then I went into the episode. Now, what's funny about Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is a little different than what you're saying, what's funny about that is this is the first Disney Plus show that I've watched again. Like, I've watched episodes 2 or 3 times, as opposed to like WandaVision. I watched the episode once.
Yeah.
Now, it's not because I disliked the episodes any more or less. It's just that, like, oh, all right, because they were mystery oriented. Once they got to the bottom of, once they established whatever the next rung of revelations were, the episode kind of didn't work for me, as a standalone.
Yeah.
Again, right? I have not watched the entire series in its
I'm
its
okay
completion.
with that, though, right? I'm okay with that, right? I don't, go ahead.
I haven't watched the WandaVision in its completion.
Mhm.
since it's finished. So I mean, I'll do that again eventually and just see how I feel about it overall. I did enjoy it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. But I watched the first and the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier maybe 3 times. I just enjoyed them that much. I enjoyed the action, and it's just straightforward action adventure thing that we don't have a lot of.
Right.
And I mean, like, towards the end of the MCU, phase 3, things kind of got really convoluted and really emotional, especially like we had pretty decent action in Infinity War.
Oh yeah, it was great.
But then in Endgame, we had a one big action sequence and a whole bunch of really, like,
Head
really
scratching.
trope smashing time travel stuff that was like, all right, guys, like, thanks for redefining time travel for us for this one outing, which is not a problem, just a point of order right there.
Yeah.
So here we go again. Falcon and Winter Soldier. Madripoor. Must mean Wolverine. Must mean, boner. Must mean all this stuff, right?
Let me ask you a question.
Stop it.
Let me ask you a question.
Just stop. Be happy you got a Madripoor in it. Be happy. Let's just see how the freaking thing plays itself out.
Dropping hints, which I like, right? I like that they're peppering this stuff up. The quote unquote fake Quicksilver in WandaVision, putting Madripoor in this. They're doing what they do best, right? Which is laying the seeds for, and it doesn't have to happen overnight. Look, what do you call Isaiah Bradley's son is going to take over as Justice, which is a young Avenger. They're teasing potential young Avengers. Patriot, sorry. They're teasing potential West Coast Avengers. They're teasing potential X-Men. What they're doing is what they do best.
That's kind of the nature of their story model.
Yes.
Since all the way back with the Hulk, not Iron Man, with the Hulk.
Right.
So
they're doing it, and they're doing it effectively. I don't need the payoff to be this particular series. I don't need the payoff to be anything like that. I just know that it's there.
Pop out of somebody's chest and
That being said, it would have been mind-blowing if you walked by someone with an eye patch. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't have to be Wolverine.
Maybe
that would be pretty
they
cool.
will do that.
Well, now they're out of Madripoor now, so they blew up enough train cars.
They could go back.
They blew up enough. That was Hassan's Rogue Rage.
That really was yours, because I wasn't really angry about anything.
But I keep telling you, it's not. You don't have to be angry. It's just things that you want to talk
Rage.
about.
The segment's called Rage.
Yeah, but that's like a
segment's called Rage.
It's a euphemism.
Don't call it rage.
It's not. It doesn't have to be anger all the time. It just has to be something that you are fired up to talk about.
Call it Rogue Whim. That would make them
rogue whimsy. There's no alliteration with that, so it doesn't.
I know. So now it's got to be rage. So it's got to be. There's always got to be an angry element to it. How come it's always got to be angry? How come? No.
It's got to be. It's always got to be alliterated. It's got to have an RR. And
that leads to So R rage is the only R word you could come up with. What about the rogue reflection? Right. Rogue redemption.
Rogue redemption. We could do a rogue redemption. Hassan Godwin's Rogue Redemption of the Week.
Yeah, well, that's when I'm not enraged. That's in the segments that I'm trying to exalt something as opposed to tearing.
Rogue Renaissance.
now you're up your own ass right now.
What do you guys think? Give us some alliteration. When we come back, we'll spin the racks. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. This segment is all about the source material
for your geekquency
that will make its way into the movies and TV shows that you love. We call this segment Spinning the Racks.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
Do you know I bring the segment back just for that song? Like, just for you singing Spin the Racks.
That's not me singing that song. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea.
I teased many years ago that we would raffle off a ringtone of that, and we will. We will.
Nobody knows who that is, though. I mean, once we have to get the rights to that from whomever is the original singer or something.
Yeah. It all got sold to Rogue Matter. We got a couple interesting things that kind of happened.
Nobody got paid for that. That's all I'll say.
The Keanu Reeves Kickstarter series Berserker, we did mention it a couple of weeks ago, got sold to Netflix. It will be a Netflix show. So it was for those who don't remember, it was a controversial Kickstarter starring Keanu Reeves that Keanu Reeves wrote, and it was his likeness that Ron Garney drew in the book. It made like bonkers money on Kickstarter. It made like 400 grand, something like that, 350, something ridiculous, but it caught the ire of the Kickstarter.
Imagine a day like that.
Yeah.
Imagine a day like that.
That is not even like what his salary would be on a movie, though. Like, if you put it in
but I mean, if you were just like, let's say you were just an attached, like, humble creator, and you did a Kickstarter, and you asked for something reasonable, like nominal, like $2,000, and you got $400,000. Like that thing would never come out because you'd go straight to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Well, it's
I'll get to that.
Look, I'll be honest with you. The Sire Kickstarter made $2,300, and that is still not coming out yet because I still got to draw that thing.
And you're going to the Bahamas on $2,300.
I guess so. I guess I could actually. All right. Hey, I'll see you guys next week.
You're the one who said it.
But no, so it made a lot of money, but it caught the ire of the Kickstarter community because a lot of people took umbrage that a publisher named Boom Studios, which is a reputable publisher, has been around for a long time now, would actually need to use Kickstarter, which is seen as more of a startup community, someone who you kickstart something, a project, an idea, and also and then not only that, but take Keanu Reeves, who is a known celebrity, and bring him into Kickstarter. And a lot of folks were very, very upset about that.
What a surprise. Folks are upset. My goodness. Right? What will we do? What will we do, Michael Dolce?
We've talked about this before, but Kickstarter as a distribution platform is now the second largest distribution platform for comics. So in my mind, I actually would rather it be a distribution platform than I need money to do something. I never liked that when it first came out. I kind of almost, I hesitated to do a Kickstarter for almost a year because I said, I don't want to ask my friends and family for money. Like that just seemed, that goes against my own, moral compass of like what is good and what is not good in terms of like how you.
Yeah, I think Kickstarter is an ultimate good in and of itself, because you do basically the bare minimum to attract attention, right?
Yeah.
And if you get funded, you finish it. If you don't, you move on. Like you don't end up wasting a year and a half putting together your own personal trade paperback just to like try to push it out on a market that is indifferent to anything that you had to do in the first place. Also, Kickstarter is a great platform to showcase the work that you've done.
Yeah.
All you have to do is shell out for a video and then, basically make a good pitch.
Yep.
If your work is good, theoretically, you'll get attention, know? If your work is like Keanu Reeves, fine. Like a lot of people paid attention to it because Keanu Reeves was involved. But if you could get a celebrity to pitch your book, you would. So stop BSing, stop saying, well, that's not, like, okay, if Jack Nicholson showed up and said, you know what,
right,
I'm going to push your book. You'd be like, oh no, Jack, I'm trying to do this with some integrity. Please stay away from my work. Yeah, bull. That's not happening. You know, it is jealousy that you're taking attention away from other people, but that's the market. That's what makes the market, right? So,
well, it has become a transmedia success though too, because now it is jumped from Kickstarter straight to Netflix. They're in production. They're going to create the series based off this comic book series. This to me is the future model of publishing, because the one thing I do enjoy about Kickstarter is that you can actually make money. I mean, I made more money on Sire Volume 3 right off the bat. No, I'll parse that by saying I don't know how much profit I'll end up making when I actually have to print the books up. But it is by far was the highest grossing Sire anything I had done up to that point. And I had been in comic book stores, and I had paid art teams, and I had paid printing costs. I did all that up front, and that's the big thing, right? So Kickstarter is giving an option for folks like us that we can maybe actually, if we're diligent enough with this and we build up enough of an audience, can make money off comics, which isn't that the dream? Speaking of making money off of comics, this is actually pretty huge. This happened a few weeks ago. It happened about a week ago. Marvel Comics moves to Penguin Random House for distribution to the direct market. So last year during the insanity of COVID, DC basically was like, well, we can't not be in stores, so we're gonna shift our distribution away from Diamond, and they did their own distribution platform. Marvel has now since kind of taken a similar route. They're not being released through Diamond, but now Penguin Random House is going to basically be their main distributor. The picture emerges. PRHPS, this is Penguin Random House Publishing Services. They're going to take on the task of distributing weekly periodicals, a new business model for them. They're ramping up resources to meet the needs of this specific market and its retail accounts, including opening a new distribution facility located in Maryland, which will be devoted to servicing the comics direct market. So a couple of keys to this. The discount for Marvel Comics offered will be 50%, which is less than the Diamond discount, which is usually about 55 to 60. This is a huge deal. PRH also offers 100% free shipping. That is also huge. Diamond also had a 3% restocking fee for graphic novels. Many shops had already switched to traditional book distributors to deal with this because they didn't even want to deal with that. Diamond has its work cut out for them. This is taken from comicsbeat.com. That they basically now the walls of single distribution are breaking down. They're breaking down, and this is some are
saying that this is a death knell of the comic book industry altogether.
Well, this is the funny part, because I'm actually seeing the opposite. They are doubling down. They are going to invest into the single issue format here. So this is also from the Beat. Basically, there's life and then there floppies is what they said. It represents a huge investment by PRH, and also backs up something I've said here. This is from the Beat. If you could offer a publisher a network of about 2,000 stores that bought your product on a non-returnable basis, would you go for it? You'd be stupid not to. They're going to invest in helping comic stores be more successful. They're going to invest in technology for them. They're going to invest in they're basically kind of using the indie bookstore model, information technology, logistics, sales and service, and trade credit produce healthier retailers and more business. So this might not be the death knell of comics. In fact, this might not even be the death knell of floppies, which I already thought were kind of out the door. Got some excitement in them there, comic book industry.
I hope so. I mean, I think it opens up. I think it eliminates a lot of gatekeeping,
Yeah.
And it brings it back down to the merit of quality again for a while. Of course, someone's corporates. It's like Ian Malcolm's comment in Jurassic Park. Like corporations will find a way. They're going to find a way to capitalize on this and to exploit it, eventually. But for right now, it's got a very good indie vibe. It's got a very good money in the hands of actual creators kind of vibe going there. It's that that opens it up and makes you excited to be able to try to push your wares out and see how it competes with all the other stuff. So that's a good thing. It won't last long, people.
Right.
Some robber baron is going to come along with a bigger idea,
right.
or they're going to try to amalgamate the sites and put them together, and then you're going to have to pay a fee just to check out the Kickstarter thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty much with the way they're trying to bundle up all the streaming services they promised was going to eliminate the price gouging of cable companies So look, it won't last long, but take advantage of it while it lasts, and let's make it into a good thing and build it up.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
And here's the thing. We have not even gotten into the NFT market, which is the non-fungible tokens. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can spin the racks on in the coming weeks. That was our show for tonight. We've really been doing long shows lately. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Yeah, stop doing that.
It just seems to be happening. But
quit it.
Next week, more Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've got some cool stuff on the horizon.
We shouldn't do Falcon and Winter Soldier for next week.
We will. We got nothing else.
We shouldn't. We got nothing else. That's not a good reason to do it. All right, never mind.
We've got Hassan Godwin's first ever Rogue Redemption next week.
As Falcon says, it's always that last sentence. Right? You always ruin it with your last justification. Go ahead. Finish up.
We've got tons of stuff. We will see you guys next week.
Rogue Wave.